Okay, welcome everyone. I am hoping that we are live on Facebook and I don't know. Well, if not, we will be sharing the video there shortly. Well, as soon as we finish. But for now, I want to say welcome everyone to the Health, Wisdom, and Wealth TV show. I'm VLYNN Hawkins, your host. I'm so excited to be here today. It hit me this morning. We are almost at the end of March 2021. And when I think about some of the things that we have gone through and experienced in 2020 and now even the first quarter of 2021, I am just so blessed and grateful to be here with you. This is show number 12 or 13, I believe, and that is so exciting because we have had so many wonderful contributors to the conversations, the powerful conversations for living your best life. And we have someone today who I'm so excited to be here with. I have known her for, oh my God, 10 years. And we met in when we were both living in California at the time. And we have both since moved. And she has done some amazing things in life. And we're going to talk about some of that hard truth around living the life you love, starting over at 50. And I'm just excited to be here with Regina Gale DOZIER. Regina, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, thank you. Excellent. And as I bring you a little bit of information about Regina, I want you to just sit back, take note, because Regina is going to share some of her story. She's going to share some of her just disappointments as well as some of the joys of her life. She's a singer-songwriter, poet, speaker, entrepreneur, and a coach who's passionate about sharing real-world lessons learned in the first half of life with others so that they can create the life they love. She's a healthy mindset coach, a healthy lifestyle advocate, and a woman who exemplifies how resilient we actually can be when we want to create a life we love and share so that others are informed and inspired to live their own lives that they too love. So, Regina, thank you for being here. I'm going to stop share so that we can really get into this today. Hi.
Hello there, and thank you so very much for having me here. I'm so pleased to be here with you and your audience.
Well, thank you for being here. This is one of the conversations I have so been looking forward to because, you know, it's Health, Wisdom, and Wealth show. And I believe that health, wisdom, and wealth have a golden thread woven between them. And we can always talk about health. I'm always in health conversations. I love talking about how to use food as medicine and being on this journey of living a healthier lifestyle. But part of that health is in the wisdom that we garner as we're walking this journey. And I'm so excited because I know that you're going to share some real wisdom and great nuggets with us about what you've learned. So tell us a little bit more about you, your journey to being this healthy living advocate and helping women learn how to live the life they love.
Well, I guess my journey starts like everybody else's journey. Once upon a time, I started and I had this idea of what my life was going to be like. And I wanted to be married and have kids and that kind of thing. And I kind of did that. I got married, I had a child, I had this great career in the pharmaceutical industry. I tease everybody and tell them I was a professional drug pusher, but I was a drug rep. And so I was living a life that I loved. The only thing is that my relationship was not all that satisfactory because I was not in a relationship where it was one where we were working together. I always felt like I was working alone, trying to make things work for the family. But my hope was, my hope was that he would see what we had and jump into the picture one day. Okay. And so what I did is what a lot of women will do is you do the things that you need to do. You support your family and you support your spouse doing whatever it is they want to do, follow their dreams, and you put your dreams on the shelf. And so that's basically what I did. And that was good for a long time. And I'm not going to go through all the ins and outs of what I had to go through, because you have family issues that you're dealing with along with life. And when I say family, I mean your uncles, your aunts, your parents who are getting older, parents that die. You're called to do things. And what women do is you take on one more thing, one more thing, one more thing, but you never drop the other things. You don't have time.
You're right. We are compilers. We just bring more in. And then we get to a point where, as in my case, you look up one day and say, well, what happened? Because something ends up breaking.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I used to tease my friends. I said, I'm so tired. I said, I need to have a breakdown, but I don't have time to have a breakdown. I have too many things to do. I have too many things on my plate. But, that was okay because you can do as many things as you need to do. And most women can, and especially if you have support. But when you don't have support, you still have to get it done. If you have a family, if you have kids, because that's who you are and that's what you will do. Okay. And you will do it to your own detriment.
Yes.
So one day I was at a point where I'm trying to think of which one to go to, but I was at a point where I had gone home for Christmas. Okay, I'll start there and tell the story. I had gone home for Christmas, and every other year my family gets together for Christmas, and my sister said, I'm not going to give you a gift this year. I'm going to give you money to buy what you want. I love gadgets. So I wanted a Holter monitor, health. Okay. I wanted a Holter monitor. They were new and you would put them on and they would check your heart rate. Right. Well, when it came in the mail, I put it on and it had this ridiculously high heart rate. It was like 127. And I'm thinking, I just got this thing and it's broken already. I took it off, followed the directions, make sure I read them again, put it on again, 127. So I took it off, went and tried it on my little son, who's about 2 or 3 at that time. Put it on him. It's like 70. Okay, put it on me again, high again. I go in the other room and I ask my ex, can I put this on you? I'm trying to check it out. I just got it and I think it's broken. I put it on him. And then it's like 68, 70. Okay. And I'm thinking, it's me. It's me. So I go in my office and I start pulling out some of my studies because cardiology was one of my areas. Okay. And so I started reading all these studies and then in my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm about to die. I don't know what's wrong with me, And so of course I'm panicking, but the next day I was working with this cardiologist was flying in to go to speak to at one of my hospitals in Monterey. And he was kind of world renowned. And I'm thinking, you know what? While I have him in my car, I'm going to ask him about my condition. And so when I pick him up and we're driving and he's just a really nice man, I said, I'd like to ask you this question. I said, I got this heart monitor and it said that my heart rate was like 127. I told him the whole story. And I said, should I be concerned? And I could see his eyes and they scared me. And I'm driving. He says, I would get that taken care of as soon as possible. And, I almost kind of like freaked out. So I got to the hospital, got him where he needed to be, and I ran to a telephone and I called my doctor's office to find out who I could see and who I should see. And I made an appointment to get in that afternoon when I got the doctor back on that plane so I could take care of my life. And what happened was, I'm gonna fast forward, we ran all these tests. I did not have a heart problem, even though for 15 years I was on heart medications and things like that. What I had was stress. My life was so stressful, not from my job, not from my son, but from my relationship. It was that bad, that it could have killed me. Okay. Stress is the #1 killer
Yes.
of people. Okay.
And
And
so,
so,
and they call it the silent killer for a reason,
for
because it's
a
not
reason,
something that you can see or necessarily feel. I mean, you had to have the monitor in order to become aware that your heartbeat was even that high. And then a lot of times, too, we don't know what next steps there are. Fortunately for you, you had someone that you could inquire with. And I love that. And that you got that advice and took action on it. Wow.
well, let me tell you one thing that I've never really mentioned is 2 other times I had gone to cardiologists and I had worn the heart monitor for 24, 48 hours because I would feel this philibration going on and I couldn't figure out what it was, but it was irregular. Okay. And I think when I would be so stressed out with what was going on, that's when it would happen. And so it wasn't like that was an idea, but what it is there is no cure for stress if you don't recognize that it's stress that is the issue. So they're looking at trying to fix everything else. Okay, your heart, there's probably a problem with your heart. So we're going to give you all these drugs to monitor your heart or fix things. And you take all these drugs that may have side effects and things like that. And if that's not the issue, it can cause more problems. So I'm fortunate that it did not. Okay, #1. And secondly, when I think about all of the things that, or all the times I've heard other people, they go to work and they so stressed out they die. Or people, they say Monday mornings um, at a job, that's when most heart attacks happen because they're so unhappy about something, you know? And so we really need to look at stress and how it's showing up in our lives so that we can deal with the problem. And the problem was, for me, I wasn't dealing with the issues that I thought I could fix just by showing up in the most authentic, loving way that I possibly could if I didn't have someone who was going to meet me there. There's nothing I can do to fix that.
Mhm.
But I wasn't willing to give up my dream of being married. That was my dream. And how many
It's,
people have that?
yeah. And it's fortunately when we are on the journey, and I know this about you, looking to learn how to do life better, we
Right.
look at these things coming to us as gifts
Most
because
definitely.
we wouldn't otherwise necessarily stop to say, wow, is there something different that I can do?
Right.
And you decided there was something different you could do. When did that happen? How did that happen?
Well, I think what happened is all along, every now and then I would think about, I'm going to change this. And then when I would say I was going to change this, um, for one reason or another, I did not. take that leap, okay? Because I never really believed in divorce for me, okay? When I got married till death do us part. And I didn't mean my death, okay? So, and I say that funny, but you know, the reality is that I realized that it wasn't going to get any better. And I realized also as things kind of progressively got worse that I did not want my son to think that this was okay. And I needed to make those changes. And yes, I was scared because what happened is I ended up losing my job and I lost my job in a merger. Okay. So when I lost my job, there were like over 1,000 people that lost their job that day. We were, the company I was worked for was bought out by another one. And then they had they had the reps and, you know, whatever. So that moment saved my life. I tell everybody. It gave me an opportunity to think about my life, take time and really think about what did I want to do going forward? What modifications was I willing to make in my life? And, you know, just make some major changes that would benefit not me, but all the people that I loved as well. You know, because that's really what life is all about. Being able to live a life that benefits all the people that are in your life.
Yes, and we also know that that is a point in time where you have to reconcile that it also means that some of the people that were in your life and important in your life had to take on a different role. They had to be in a different space. And having experienced something very similar to you at a much earlier age, my son was really just 3 months old. And it was like, okay, this has got to change. And, you know, you quickly reconcile because you look at, again, turning the mirror around and seeing you and saying, I am that important. And I can do this, because you talked about the fear. A lot of times we're so afraid that we may fail at doing it. Well, who hasn't failed on this journey at some point in time? And what do? You get up, you look, you say, what was the lesson in this? And how do I want to do it the next time, or at least going forward? And you did that. What did that look like for you?
Scary. It was very scary because not only was I starting over, but I moved to a place that I'd never been. I moved from California. When that happened, I was living in California. I ended up moving to North Carolina, where I knew nobody except him. And, you know, we really didn't have a great relationship. I had no job. I had no plans other than trying to make something perhaps work and, you know, trying to try to figure it out. And all I knew is that I could do it, but it was going to be hard. And so I just kind of had to do it one step at a time. Because first of all, I'd never really, when you've never thought about being on your own, and you are, you know, because I'd never lived by myself, never. Okay, I went from basically home to family, you know, and was married. And so when you think that's how life is supposed to be, and it's always been I come from a very loving family. So I thought when a man and a woman get married, they make this commitment and you just work it out. And so I think that's probably when I think, why did you stay so long? I said, I was waiting for that time when we were going to work it out. That's not everybody's road that they get to walk. We all have that intention, but sometimes we have to drop those intentions. And so what I have learned is, hey, I can't hold on to thinking that I can change somebody's mind. That's not my job. My job is to show up and do the best that I can do. And if it's working for me, it will probably work for everybody else who wants what I want or something similar or we can work things out. But it's not my job to think that I can change anybody's mind. So I don't even have that idea in my head. And secondly, really was an opportunity because I finally decided I was going to do the things that I wanted to do. At that point, my goal when I was working was I was going to do early retirement. I was going to be home with my son when he was a senior in high school because I wanted to do that journey with him. And then I was going to be able to go on. And when I lost my job, I decided that I'm still going to do that. I was not going to change that plan, and I was going to work out how everything else worked around that. So I ended up moving out here so my son would have his father and his mother near, because that's a long story. But so we would be in the same place because I owed that to him. I owed that to my son. And I owed him the ability to give him the best that I could, okay, with as much love as that I could. And so I came out here and decided, I wanted to write when I was young, but I never studied writing. And why not do it? Why not do all the things that I always wanted to do, but I was too afraid to do, or people told me I couldn't do because I hadn't studied it, I didn't go to school for that, or that's not what our family did, or whatever reason, or their fears stopped them from being able to say, why don't you try it? Because they couldn't even see that for themselves, following their own dreams. And I thought, we all only have one life. And if we don't take the time to do some of those things that we want in our one life, we'll be one of those people that die with all these gifts inside that we were supposed to leave for other people. And I said, that is not gonna be me. And
kudos to you.
Awesome. If I fall down, I'll just get up and start all over again. And so I do that. And a lot of things don't work, but a lot of things do. And I've been able to achieve some things that I never, ever, ever would have if I would have stayed where I was.
So, Regina, you mentioned a couple of things. One being one of your mind shifts was that you really had to decide what you wanted to do. And then what would you say is a mind shift that women in general who are going through or have just experienced a devastating event, in order to, they feel like they've fallen and can't get up at the moment? What's a mindset shift, something that they could maybe repeat to themselves to help them to want to get up and keep going and just take that next step?
Oh gosh, I guess probably the biggest mindset for me was because I had lost confidence in how I looked. Okay, I was a little bit heavier than I wanted to be. And then one day I said, you know what? I got this one body, whether I like it or not, this is the one that I have. So I'm just going to love it and tell it it's beautiful. Tell it it's beautiful. And if something jiggles, that's okay. It's still beautiful. And so I just began to love me in a very different way. Just all of me, just the way that I am. And I think that's the biggest mindset, because we're so easy to love other people, and we love all of them however they show up, and then we're not that loving with ourselves and how we show up. Sometimes we think that we're supposed to be perfect. We're looking at ourselves through how we think other people are looking at us. Nobody's looking at us that way, okay? We are more critical on ourselves, and we need to be more loving to ourselves. We need to be as loving to ourselves as we are to everybody else. And I think that's the biggest shift. It has to start there. And then you can make those baby steps. I wanted to lose weight. I didn't want to diet. And so I said, what am I willing to give up that I don't miss, that I won't feel like I'm dieting? What am I willing to do so I can achieve what it is that I want to do? So it's part of how I live. Okay. So you start looking at what is it that you want? Do I need that? Do I even want that? Or am I just taking it because it's there? That's 3 different choices you have. Now, all the things that I want, I go after and I take, but I don't have to eat it all.
That's
I
key
don't,
too, because so many women will revert to the soothing or what they perceive to be soothing and comfort of food that is not healthy.
I used to eat for love. I ate for love. When I wasn't getting the love, I ate for love. That's how my behind got a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be at one time. But I realized that it didn't satisfy that need. You know, food doesn't ever do that. It just satisfies the moment. And the things that I want last longer than a moment. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And how did you switch to view food differently? How are you viewing food now?
Now I just eat all the things that I like. But let's go, okay, like for breakfast, I eat, 3 meals a day, and I have snacks all, throughout the day. But like I love vegetables, so I have vegetables at every meal. Like I love eggs, so I usually will have like cabbage in my eggs, broccoli in my eggs, spinach in my eggs. So unless I have oatmeal, that's the only time I don't have vegetables. But I find the combinations that work for me. If you like cheese, maybe don't eat as much cheese as you used to eat. Okay, you cut it down to what you want to eat. I have candy every day, almost, but 2 little pieces, okay? And they're pieces that I like. Caramel, I love caramel candy with chocolate, okay? Little pieces, but all I want is a taste. I don't need a whole bag full. And when you realize that all you want is a little taste, and what it is sometimes I don't even have to have this stuff every day. What it is I realize that if I want it, I can have it. And just knowing if I want it will satisfy the fact that I don't really even want it.
Knowing that it's available to you and you have the choice, you can make the decision to have it or not. And then even in deciding to have it, you're saying you don't have to have the whole bag of candy or the whole box of donuts, which was one of my vices. Or the whole bag of potato chips, or, the whole 6-pack of beer, whatever it might be. And then I think one of the key things that really resonated with me was the whole vegetables. Knowing that your body looks to that first, and then everything else you are saying, I love you, and for that, I'm going to let you have this piece of candy. And, I love you, and I'm going to let you not have the whole bag. I don't think that we have been conditioned to look at ourselves and treat ourselves that kindly, that lovingly.
No, one of the other things is if you like chips, if you like all this other stuff, buy them. Put them in little bags, or buy the single bags. The single bags, not the one that say one single bag will feed 4 people. No, and have one. Okay. Probably, I think the easiest way for people, if they feel like, well, I don't have any control over anything that I do when it comes to food, the best thing to do is to promise yourself and to do it. Write down every single thing that you put in your mouth for a month. I'm not going to say 3 days. I'm not going to say a week, a month, because 3 days in a week in your mind, you're like, you know what? I got to write this down. I don't want to write this stuff down. So I'm not going to put down, I'm not going to eat the things that I would normally eat every day. You know, write it down, take a little book with you, keep it with you, and write down, if you have put a piece of gum in your mouth, write it down so you can actually see, what are you putting in your body on a regular basis? And it's really just good to know anyway. And then you'll, sometimes when you start to eat, you'll just think, at what point am I eating enough where I really am not hungry anymore, and I'm just eating it because it really just tastes really good? And let that be a choice in whether or not you decide to continue to eat. But you will start looking at not maybe putting as much on your plate or those kinds of things, but you will always, I think you should always make sure you have the things that you like. Well, for me, some people, eating is not a big deal. My mother could cook. My grandmother could cook. I come from people who can cook, and I can cook too, okay? So I want my food to taste good. And so for me, I enjoy food. So since I enjoy food, then I need to monitor from the standpoint, I'm going to have good food. I don't want any nasty tasting food, okay? It doesn't do a thing for me. I'd rather not have it. So it's kind of how you look at food too, and each of us are different.
We are. I was telling a group that I was presenting with just the other day, there's a term called bioindividuality. And I think that that is an important concept, especially for women to learn, because we can't always eat what we feed our children. And, if I have heart disease, I may want to just leave those chips alone. It doesn't matter if it's a little bag or a big bag, just,
Right.
That's not in my purview of healthy living, loving myself.
Right.
And I think that, for women, we really have to learn how to individualize ourselves and be okay with that, because we grew up typically in families where we wanted to fit in. We then went into communities in school and we wanted to fit in, all levels of school, including, post undergrad and graduate and, beyond. Everything is about fitting in. In entrepreneurship, it's about fitting in. And we're having all of these beautiful lunch networking group meetings, and we're there and we're eating. And is that what I really am telling myself? I love myself and I'm going to be eating? And, who cares? I'm the one that should care. I'm the one that cares. And I can say, no, I don't eat that anymore. And it's okay. Yeah. Or, I do indulge with this, but I do it this way. And that's okay, because we are individuals and we are right now learning to disrupt some of the old theories about how we should live our lives, and we women, mothers, wives should live our lives. And it's really intriguing to me, because so many would tell us you can't do what you love. You can't do it that way. I had a conversation with a friend of mine one time, and we were in this, well, doesn't it have to go this way or that way? And it's like, well, there are a number of ways it could happen. And she said, Lynn, there are probably 276 different ways to wash the dishes. The end result is the dishes still get clean. So what does it matter if someone wants to clean them this way versus that way? The fact is they know, and they know based on who they are, what direction they want to go in, because they know what the end result is. They know what they want. And I think that that is really one of the things that women get so messed up. I'm going to say just messed up in, because from young girls, oh, you should do this and you should do that, and you're good at that, and don't do that. You know, you're intuitive. Don't do that. Don't tell anybody that. And we learn how to crush ourselves.
That's true.
And we get to a point where either we've had a friend who's learned that already and can teach us how to re-identify in that space and bring ourselves back out. But sometimes there's not that person there. And we have to do it on ourselves, or do it ourselves. And so how do we, what's one way that you would say that we can disrupt those old theories and start doing and living the life that we love?
Ask this question. How's that working for you, honey?
That's a true disruptor. Oh.
Is it making you happy? Is it getting you where you want to go? And if the answer is no, okay, step back and let's think about something else. You know, if you don't have any girlfriends, one of the things that I truly believe, we as women, we need other women around us. I tell you, they are the ones who will tell us the truth, whether we want to hear it or not. And they will love us even if we don't want to hear what they have to say. You know, if you don't have anybody like that in your life, you know, you have to really put the time into trying to develop those kind of relationships for you, because part of the fear, getting past the fear of doing things that I have done and that other women do, probably is having a girlfriend there. So if you fall down and trip, she'll hold out her hand, pull you up, and then let you go so you can take off again and give you a push if it looks like you're not going to go. Okay. And we need people like that in our lives, always. But being able to ask the questions, and sometimes it's really hard for us to ask ourselves those questions because we don't want to go that deep with
It can be
ourselves.
scary.
It's very
Things that we don't want to face about ourselves and about what others have said to us and told us we could or could not do.
Yeah. And then, you know, because if we're doing something new, that means that there's a learning curve, okay? Because it's not like we're going to be really good at it. You know, it just comes to us naturally. That's not it, okay? So is this something in your heart that you want to do? And are you okay just doing it for the love of it, first of all, okay? And if you're okay doing it for the love of it, are you going to commit to it? And I think that's the other thing I forgot to mention, be it with your food, be it with your exercise, be it with everything that you decide to do. At one point, you have to get to a point where you're committed to your health. I'm committed to exercise. My exercises, I get in so many miles every single day, not 2 days a week, not 3 days a week. For me, because I know me, I can't have a day off. So every day. And I don't play with that. Before midnight, it's going to be in. That's my commitment to myself. And I think each of us have to decide all those things in all areas of our lives that are important to us. And for me, the quality of my life is so important to me because I didn't have a good quality of life in my married life for a long time. And all I want is joy. And so I think every woman in starting over, because some of them have had wonderful lives, and if you have, that's good, but you still probably were living other people's dreams, is the thing. Because you were living your husband's dreams, you were living your kids' dreams, and we love living those people's dreams that we love. We're living the job that we love. They pay us good money, and we actually enjoy being there. But there comes a time when maybe all of that has changed, and you have to look at, I don't want to sit in a rocking chair. I don't want to just sit around being bored. And I don't want to just do this, that, or the other. I still have a lot of vitality and a lot of life still I want to live, but I'm afraid because I want to do things that I never thought I could. Well, come join me. Yeah, you can. You most definitely can.
So I love that. That's a great segue to my next question too. And that is, we were talking the other day and you happened to mention, I thought about it. I used to be this humorous person who loved to sing and dance and always made time for play with family and friends and relatives. What happened? So tell us, what did you do to cross the barrier and get back to that humorous, fun-loving, dancing, singing woman that you once were?
I
Was
just,
it?
it, once I decided that I didn't like where my life was, and I just decided I was going to start putting the music on that I like, that makes me want to just, hey, move, doing the things that bring me joy, spending time, not working all the time, because I could tend to be a workaholic. In fact, I was a workaholic, to spend extra time with my friends, and actually loving it, and giving those people, the things that we take for granted are sometimes the gifts in our lives, but we don't appreciate them because we think they're always going to be there. And so sometimes we really have to stop and look at what's important and what's not anymore. And going after all the gold, we don't have to have all the gold, maybe just a little bit of it, because maybe there's more magnificent things in the people and just doing things that you're not going to benefit from, but your presence makes everybody else so joyful. And you can, when you have nothing to gain and everybody around you is enjoying just you being there and how you're able to show up, I'm going to tell you, you feel like you are worth millions and billions of dollars at that point. You can't buy that. You just cannot buy that. And so
All right.
it's just, so it's just a different look on life. I have a dog and a cat. I didn't grow up with a dog and a cat in my house. But I tell you, and especially during this COVID thing, they are just so much fun. And I loved them before, but it's just the little things. I said, if we treated each other like our animals treat us, they are just glad to see us. They want us happy all the time. It's like, what can I do to make you smile? Those kinds of things. If we treated each other like that, oh my gosh, this world would be so fantastic.
You're right. You're right. There's something to be said about living in a space where, even if there aren't pets, we're loving ourselves like that.
Yeah.
And, when someone isn't quite there yet, when they're really in this difficult spot and, they want the way out. I know it's difficult sometimes to talk about where you are in life. Sometimes some of us can't talk about the positives, much less the negatives. And, for those who have relatives or friends that, they may have even tried to express some of the things that they may be going through and they got shut down. What would you recommend that they do to allow themselves the space and the safety of getting that conversation out and taking those steps forward?
You can't have all conversations with all people, first of all. And even if they are some of the people that you should have those conversations with, if you have tried and you have tried earnestly, And when we try, I mean, you have to be able to have those conversations without judgment, without attitude. And one of the things that is hard to do, and when I tell people to do this and they look at me like, I'm not going to do that. And I used to try to do it with certain people, but if somebody that you really want to talk to and have a heart-to-heart talk with, grab their hand if they will let you and have a conversation, because it's very hard to have a mean conversation with somebody and you're holding hands. And if you're being truthful and being you and saying they don't have to agree with you, but all you want them to do is hear you and just listen to what I have to say, and I'll listen to you. And even if we don't agree, we can be okay with disagreeing, and if we can still respect each other, because it boils down to respect, then maybe we have something. But those ones who are just going to blow you off and don't have time of day or whatever, unless you're going along with wherever they want to go, they're not in the relationship to be in the relationship for a relationship. And so sometimes we have to look at that too. And that's very hard to do, especially with people that you think are supposed to be close. Maybe they're not. And that hurts you too. But you know what? The best healer of hurt is time. The best thing I ever did was walk away from love. And it was not easy, because that was like a dream. But I tell you, time, it does heal the wounds. And it allows the door to open. And what I tell women, and everybody has to decide for themselves, the best gift I gave myself is not rushing into another relationship. So I could really learn who Regina Gale is. What does Regina Gale like? What does Regina Gale want? And what is she willing to put up with at this point in her life? You know, because she's very different than she was when she was 20 or 25 or even 45. And what I would like to have in a relationship is going to be very, very different too. I don't have time to play games. You know?
Amen, sister.
You know, and if I have to play games, I'd rather do that just all by myself, you know?
Or let it be a game of chess, or
Yeah,
exploding kittens, or
it's just a different space, because I just want joy, you know? And I think that if I can't bring any joy to somebody's life as well, I really don't need to be a part of their life.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And a lot of times we move through life thinking, what can someone do for me, versus, you know, the giver theory, you know, give first, always be grateful, and you will receive. And, you know, in women, we always think, well, I'm giving on my job, I'm giving to my kids, I'm giving to the spouse, I'm giving to the pets, I'm giving. And the internal space of giving has shifted from the heart of giving to, this is my responsibility, this is my lot in life, and the joy is gone, and we're wondering why. Well, Regina, as we're bringing this conversation to a close, I first want to say, you know, as someone who helps women through this space, I love that. And I know that you've got some music out there, some poetry out there. And I want to make sure that people know how to find you. We will be posting below this video places where you can find Regina, but just tell our audience right now where they can find you, what your website or.
Okay. My website is reginagale.com. That's REGINAGALE, my name. And my books, you can either get them on there or it'll take you right to Amazon. Sometimes He Buys Me Grapes. Fabulous book. You'll have to get it. Everybody has to get it. And my second book, That's What Love Is. And I actually wrote a song called Sometimes He Buys Me Grapes Too. It's available on Spotify and I think Amazon as well. But check it out. And for those of you who are interested, I have this little paper that I wrote, the 5 things a woman needs to know when starting all over again. If you would like a copy of that, if you will just put a note there in the comments, and I will send you something so you can send me your email and then I can send it to you. So I would love to do that as well. But this has truly, truly been a pleasure. And I really am excited for all women, you know, as we move forward, and especially letting people know that when I was young, I would think, gee, when I get old, I'm not going to ever have any fun. That's not true. That's not true. You know, life is so different and we have so many more choices now in what we get to do and choose to do. And our health, you know, our health is our wealth. And if we remember that, we will do the appropriate things and making those happen so that we can live a life that we love.
Awesome, beautiful, and well said. What a wonderful word to end our interview on today. Regina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I can't say enough how important it is for us to be in these powerful conversations. And, you know, for women who are finding themselves either still getting over that major shift, in the middle of it, or looking at it, it looks like it might be inevitable. It doesn't even have to be that. It's just the journey that we are on to find ourselves. And I want to take this moment to speak to our audience and just let you know that we're in these amazing conversations weekly. And I'm asking you to join us again next week, because as we wrap up today, I want you to know that these conversations are for you. So if there is a topic that you would like for us to speak to, please put it in the comments below this video. And if you're a health, wisdom, or wealth practitioner, and you'd like to share your knowledge and expertise with our audience to be in this kind of conversation, reach out to me. PM me, message me on Facebook, message me on LinkedIn, or email me at VLYNN@p3academy.com, and let's connect. Well, all right. We've got some exciting things coming up in future episodes, everyone. So do stay tuned, turn on your notifications, like our Facebook page, subscribe to us on YouTube, and do us a favor, please share and let others know. So until next time, live, love, be a bigger positive impact in the world. Be well, and we will see you soon. Bye for now.